court with his attorney, Mr. Rigdon. Mr. Murphy is here for the prosecutor's office. Scheduled for trial this morning. Mr. McDonald, I need to address this issue of the waiver that you filed of your right to have a jury trial. You executed a document this morning, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And it's your desire to waive your right to have a jury trial and have the case decided by me, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Have you gone over this with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you understand that the right to a jury trial is guaranteed by the Sixth Amendment?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that each person on the jury would have to agree with a guilty verdict?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about this waiver that you've executed?
No, sir.
Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Brigden, anything you want to add with regard to the waiver?
No, Your
Uh, Mr. Murphy?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I'll accept the waiver then. Counsel, are we ready to proceed?
State's ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Defense is ready as well, Your Honor.
All right. Any preliminary matters before we go into opening statements?
Just notation, parties do have stipulations for the court in this particular case as to the different elements of the charged
Do you
offenses.
want to address those now or at any, when we
We
get
can discuss
into
the
the evidence?
end of the evidence.
All right. Mr. Brigden, any preliminary matters?
No, Your Honor, that was just the stipulations.
Opening statement, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Milligan. Your Honor, Tuesday, November 14th, 2023 was a day that was supposed to be a joyful day for the Tusky Valley High School band. Instead, it turned into another case caused by distracted driving by the defendant. We believe the evidence in this case will show that the Tusky High School marching band was selected to play at the Greater Columbus Convention Center on this particular day. We believe the evidence will show that the school had retained the Van Hool motor coach to transport the students and staff to this event, with 65-year-old Donald Wagler as the bus driver. In all, 56 persons set out in the Van Hool bus on November 14, 2023 at 6:50 a.m. We believe the evidence will show that an additional 3 chaperones followed the Van Hool bus. High school band director Mary Gensley would hand over the keys to her silver 2015 Nissan Murano to algebra teacher David Kennett to drive with Kristen Gaynor and Shannon Wakefield as passengers to follow the Van Hool bus to the Greater Columbus Convention area. We believe the evidence will show that the Tripp would bring the 2009 Van Hool bus in the lead, followed by 3 chaperones driving in the band director's silver Nissan Murano onto the westbound lane of Interstate 70 in Lincoln County, Ohio. We believe the evidence will show that the area of Interstate 70 westbound is a 2-lane highway with a speed limit of 70 miles an hour. We believe the evidence will show that while the bus was en route with Tusky High School band, chaperones, the defendant, Jacob McDonald, would begin the second stage of a multi-day trip that he had been making for the last year as a Class A commercial driver for Midstate Systems Incorporated. We believe the evidence will show that the first stage of this multi-day trip started at 6:53 p.m. on Sunday, November 12, 2023, with the defendant driving to East Pennsylvania, East Penn Manufacturing in Topton, Pennsylvania, arriving at this location at 1:24 a.m. on Monday, November 13, 2023. We believe the evidence will show that the defendant would load up 16 pallets of lead-acid automotive batteries with an excess weight of 24,000 pounds and leave the manufacturing center at 11:38 a.m. and arrive back in Zanesville, Ohio on 6:03 p.m. on the same Monday, November 13, 2023. I believe the evidence will show that the defendant would exit his truck, spend the evening at his personal residence before returning to his truck on Tuesday, November 14th, and at 7:49 returning to duty at 8:17 to begin his final phase of delivering these batteries to Honda. We believe the evidence will show that this time period prior to the crash would form the forensic baseline of activity prior to the collision for his cell phone. And at the time of the collision, in determining the activity of the defendant's Samsung S22 mobile phone with his cell phone. I believe the evidence will show that the defendant entered a westbound ramp near State Street and would proceed to travel at varying speeds between 62.8 miles per hour and 75.2 miles per hour, pursuant to his electronic data recorder on 70 westbound. The speed limit on this roadway was again 70 miles an hour. I believe the evidence will show that the defendant's 2019 315 semi-truck was pulling a 53-foot trailer, that the semi was not equipped with any collision avoidance technology, was not equipped with automatic braking, and was not equipped with any kind of adaptive cruise control. We believe the evidence will show that the defendant's 2019 Freightliner 315 semi-truck had a conventional cruise control with a maximum speed that would set for 70 miles an hour. And the truck could be driven at a higher speed that would require driver control, and the maximum governed speed would be 75 miles an hour. We believe the evidence will show that 75-year-old Robert Wolverton would start his day with coffee and a road trip in his 2006 Toyota Highlander to a restaurant in Pickering, Ohio, via State Route 79, Interstate 70, westbound for approximately 10 miles to the collision site. We also believe that Eugene Manns Jr. was operating a 2020 Ford Transit 350 van on State Route 70 westbound also on November 14, 2023. Mr. Manns at the time was employed with the Veterans Administration and was driving a veteran to Columbus for the veteran scheduled hospital trip. We believe the evidence will show that Brandon Markle on November 14, 2023 was operating a 2014 Volvo semi-truck transporting animal byproducts. His semi was equipped with forward-facing video camera. The video will show that at the time he was rear-ended, that traffic was moving, albeit slower, at the time of that collision. We believe the evidence will show that closer to Columbus in the westbound side of the roadway near milepost 117, Ohio State Highway Patrol Trooper Sean Grimm and Ohio State Highway Patrol Trooper Jody Sawyer were completing their work on a vehicular accident near milepost 117, with all vehicles having been cleared from the roadway. We believe the evidence will show that at 8:45 a.m., that both the Tusky Valley Van Hool bus van, followed by Mary Gensley's 2015 silver Nissan Murano, were all in the right lane traveling behind the 2006 Toyota Highlander operated by Robert Wolverton. In the front of Robert Wolverton's 2006 Highlander was a 2014 Volvo operated by Brandon Markle. And, Your Honor, if I can show what the court will see here is referencing a reconstruction that was done by Trevor Jasper in this particular case. What the court will see is that pre-collision, I'm looking at figure A here, and this would be the defendant's 2019 semi-Freightliner. In front of it immediately was the 2015 silver Murano, which had the 3 chaperones in it. In front of that would be the Van Hool school bus, the 2009 Van Hool bus. In front of that would be Mr. Wolverton's Toyota Highlander, 2006. In front of this would be the 2014 semi that was being operated by Mr. Markle. They were all in the right lane. At the time that this was going on, there were other vehicles behind them, but more important to this, the weather conditions. They're heading west. The sun is to their back in this particular case. We believe the evidence will show that there was no ice on the roadway, no inclement weather to the roadway, no fog, no other distractions that were out there. And the court will see from a series of videos, one from the lead vehicle, another from 2 trailing semis, that the roadway prior to this impact was pretty open, pretty clear, no heavy traffic congestion. About a mile ahead of this, and off of the road and now cleared at this point of any vehicular traffic, is the accident where Trooper Grimm and Trooper Sawyers had cleared the roadway, and they were completing their work there. We also believe that of note here is that the defendant's position in this truck would place him at an elevated position, which would cause him little difficulty to see over the vehicles that were in front of him. We believe the evidence therefore will show on November 14, 2023 at approximately 8:48 a.m. in the westbound lane of Interstate 70, approximately 0.2 miles west of milepost 119 in Licking County, Ohio, that the 2014 Volvo tractor trailer operated by Brandon Markle was traveling in the right lane, followed by the Highlander, operated by Robert Wolverton, followed by the Van Hool, operated by Donald Wagner, containing the members of the Tusky Valley High School Band, and followed by the 2015 Nissan Murano, operated by Mr. Kinnett. We believe the evidence will show that two other semis were traveling behind, one in the fast lane, one in the slow lane, but at the time initially, both in the slow lane, both had forward-facing video cameras that recorded activity. We believe also that the evidence will show that Samadawi was operating his truck immediately behind the defendant's 2019 Freightliner. He would be the first semi following. We believe the evidence will show that the speed limit for this truck was set and governed at 65 miles an hour, and that he was traveling at this speed. We believe the evidence will show that his dash cam captured the defendant's conduct 1 minute prior to the series of collisions, and also immediately after the series of collisions. I believe the evidence will show that all of these vehicles, other than the defendant, were in the process of slowing down in reaction to the pace of traffic, which is something that the defendant would be aware of and indicated he was aware of in his statements to the Ohio State Highway Patrol by virtue of the fact that you're coming into the Columbus area. I believe the evidence will show that at this time that the defendant was looking short. We believe the evidence will show that the defendant's ability to keep his semi in the lane of travel, which is important. You have a fog line to the right side of him, and you have the dash or zipper line immediately to his left. And for a period of about a mile plus, the defendant has no difficulty keeping his semi in the middle of that lane. I believe the evidence will show that at this time, the defendant started receiving a significant amount of cell phone data. But before that, after this, just prior to this menu that you see up here, Mr. Markle was driving a veteran. He saw the traffic slowing down, and he moved over to the fast lane. About 8+ seconds afterwards, the defendant, having nothing in front of him, drove into and over the Nissan Murano, immediately killing all 3 occupants in the Nissan Murano. It didn't stop there. The speed that he was going was over 72 miles an hour, probably 74. There's no showing that what his ELD was showing a minute earlier at 74.7 miles an hour would be incorrect. The fact that he doesn't have adaptive cruise control would show that this defendant was manually operating the fuel pedal. We believe at the time he was looking at his cell phone. We believe the evidence will show that looking short is something that is typical, and the court will see evidence from the state's experts, witnesses in this particular case, that when someone is looking at a cell phone, they only have time to look up partially and watch traffic. We believe the circumstances of this collision, because he didn't stop then either. He kept on going into the Van Hool bus. He would kill 3 people in the Van Hool bus, the force of that collision. The bus driver in this particular case was able to make a hard right cut of his wheel, which is the only reason why Mr. Wolverton, who suffered serious injuries, multiple surgeries, is alive. The force or the result of the collision, as the court will see, and I'm looking at number D here, would push off the Toyota Highlander into the fast lane and spin it out. The Van Hoop bus still would go into the 2014 semi with such force that it would push in the entire rear right side of the trailer and push that tractor trailer off of the roadway. These multiple impacts would ignite a fatal fire on the bus that would consume the defendant's Freightliner. He would make it out of his vehicle. One of the things that the court will see are some pictures taken immediately after the defendant got out of his vehicle. One of which shows the defendant with both hands in the air, looking back at his semi. That was taken by Mr. Manns, who was in the 2024 Transit vehicle. There's a lot of heroes this day. He was one of them. He grabbed his fire extinguisher. He put out the fire, or what looked to be a start of a fire, around the Toyota Highlander. He also sprayed part of the back of the semi. He also, with Trooper Sean Grimm, would pull Mr. Wolverton out of the vehicle. I believe the evidence will also show that Josh Chica was coming the opposite way. As a semi-driver, he would stop his vehicle, he would run across, he would help pull students off the bus. Some of them would have died, but for what he did. Your Honor, the defendant is charged with 26 counts. We believe with the stipulations that there's no disputes with counts 16 to 26. That there is a dispute as to counts 1 through 6 and 7 through 15 as to whether or not the defendant's conduct was negligent or reckless. We believe that after the court considers carefully all the evidence in this particular case, listens to all the witnesses in the case, has the opportunity to hear from the expert witnesses in this case, that on Tuesday, November 23rd, 2023, the defendant was speeding. The defendant wasn't watching the roadway. The defendant was pulling a 50-foot trailer in a semi with over 24,000 pounds of batteries. And that his inattention for a period of over 800 feet caused the death of 6 people, caused serious physical injuries, and caused physical injuries to other individuals that were on the bus, including the bus driver in this particular case, who after the collision into the 2014 semi, he had injured his left leg. He had to hop and hobble his way off the bus, and he would end up having that leg amputated because of this. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Mr. Britton?
Your Honor, the evidence through video testimony and various exhibits in this case will demonstrate that on November 24th, 2023, that Jacob McDonald was operating his Freightliner in a reasonable manner as any other truck driver on the road today would be. We have the court will see video evidence from ODOT, truck traveling in the right-hand lane at a reasonable speed, other cars passing him during the course of that travel. The video evidence will demonstrate, particularly of the Freightliner that was directly behind Jacob McDonald at the time of the accident, will demonstrate that he was continuing to flow with traffic. There's a key piece here that's being left out. It's left out of that exhibit you just saw. It's very important. It's the white van. We'll be able to demonstrate to you through that Jacob McDonald was continuing with the flow of traffic. Now, both sides have experts that will be testifying here today. The state's claim of the on-off, I believe that it's called, is completely made up. That's one promise that I will make to you in the course of this trial. They will never be able to prove that. You'll learn through the experts and through the evidence that's going to be submitted, it's literally on it, that AT&T doesn't tell you what user activity is. They tell you only volume of data, the session interface. They can't tell you what it was at all. Their expert can't tell you, Sergeant Jasper can't tell you, AT&T can't tell you, nobody can tell you what that data meant. So the claim of on and off is a made-up phenomenon. Jacob McDonald was operating that vehicle, that semi-truck, with a load of approximately 26,000 pounds. I believe the semi is about 20,000 pounds as well. Flowing with traffic, and the key point here that's being left out, that was omitted from the NTSB report, that's in all the police reports, is there was a sudden stopping event. We know that. We'll have kids on the bus that'll come here today that'll testify, not today, but later on this week, that will come and testify that the bus broke hard. There was a hard braking event from the bus. Then there was the impact from the rear. That's what that figure doesn't show you. That's what the NTSB and Sergeant Jasper left out of their report. They never mentioned the white van either. There's a lot of omitted here. A key piece that you'll learn was the average speed of Jacob McDonald in the course of that travel of 35 miles, as plotted by Sergeant Jasper in his report. He never gave you the average speed. Jacob McDonald's average speed was 68.4 miles an hour, and that's leaving out the last data point. Your Honor, this case should have never been brought in felony court, and I look forward to proving that to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Murphy, your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state of courtroom, Goedel. Your Honor, may we approach?
Sure.
swear testimony you're about to give in this case, now read the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Have a seat. State your full name, spell your last name, please, for record, ma'am.
Bryn Goedel, Goedel.
Thank you.
You may inquire.
Good morning, Bryn. Could you introduce yourself to the judge, please?
Yes. My name is Bryn Goedel, and I am a senior at Tusky Valley High School.
Okay. And back in November of 2023, what grade were you in?
I was a junior in high school.
Okay. And were you part of the band?
Yes.
How long have you been part of the band?
Since 5th grade, so I was about 10 years old.
Okay. And what instruments do you play?
Just the clarinet.
Okay. And do you recall why you were going to the Greater Columbus Center on November 14, 2023?
Yes, I was going to the Columbus Convention Center, and we were going there to play music for the meeting that was going on there.
Okay, was this any kind of honor or any kind of for service work done?
Yes, so what I understand is we were going there to play just our marching band music that we were playing throughout the year, and there was only like one school there, one band that got to play, so it was quite an honor to be there.
Okay. Were you expecting to go on something other than a yellow school bus?
Yes, we were on a motor coach.
Okay. If I asked you if it was a 2009 Van Hole motor coach, does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay. And about how many people do you think went from the band?
I'm not entirely sure, but what I recall is about 54.
Okay. And was the school or the bus, the Van Hole bus, also carrying your instruments, or how were your instruments getting there?
Most of them were underneath in the storage compartments, but some of the smaller instruments like the flutes and clarinets, we got to hold on the bus and put them in the overhead bins.
Okay. And so that I understand, was there any seating, or was seating set up, or just wherever you wanted to seat?
Yes, wherever you wanted to sit, you could sit there.
Okay. Any chaperones going?
Yes.
Okay. Who were the chaperones, if you know?
Kim Charton,
Okay.
Mr. Tripp,
Okay.
he's the assistant band director. And that's it.
Okay. Were you aware of a vehicle that was going to follow behind?
Yes, the vehicle had 3 chaperones.
Okay. And was, in terms of the loading of time and everything else, about what time do you think the bus was loaded and ready to go?
I would say 7 in the morning.
Okay. And what were you all discussing on the bus?
Before we left,
Yes.
we were just discussing how excited we were to be playing all of our marching band songs that we learned.
Okay. And prior to going on this trip, did you have any health issues?
No.
Okay. And so, when the bus left, did you know who the bus driver was, or who was driving the bus, or did the bus driver introduce himself, or anything like that?
No, I did not know him.
Okay. Were there any safety instructions that were provided?
No.
Okay. Anything that the bus had, a restroom or anything like that?
Yes, I saw a restroom, I think in the back left corner.
Okay. Any restrictions to use of the restroom that you're aware of during the operation of the bus?
No.
Okay. Anything unusual about the bus ride prior to getting on 70?
No.
Okay. Anyone taking any pictures?
Yes.
Okay. Richie, can I switch up on you? Who's in this picture?
So the person taking the picture is Samantha Bosler, and the boy on the left is Luke McCoy, and the one on the right, like looking at him, is Mason Tidrick.
Okay, and does this picture, State Exhibit 15A, truly and accurately depict
Yes.
what it looked like on the bus? Kind of seats? Looks like this is looking back toward the back of the bus. Does that appear accurate?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked, 15B. At any point in time, did you decide to use the bathroom?
Yes.
Okay, about when would that have been?
I'm not sure the time, but if I had to, it would have been about 8:15, I would say.
Okay, were you getting close to Columbus or anything?
Yes, we were close.
Okay, but you don't remember the exact time?
Yeah.
Okay. And how'd you get to the bathroom?
I got out of my seat, which I was sitting on the window side, so the boy that I was sitting with, Cam McCoy, he had to get out of the seat. He let me out, and then he sat back down, and then I started going back to the restroom.
Okay. I think you previously said prior to this time, was there any abnormal braking or maneuvering by the bus?
No.
Okay. At the time that you were walking back toward the bathroom, was there any abnormal attempts by the bus or braking by the bus or anything of that nature?
Yes, so I stepped out of the seat, and the bus had slowed down.
Okay. And was it unusual?
Yes, because we were on the highway, so
Yeah.
it was unusual, yes.
Okay. And so, did it cause you to lose your balance or anything, or?
Yes, I had squatted down in the seat. My arms were on the handlebars of the seat, and I had squatted down on my bottom with my knees up.
Okay. And at some point in time, did you exit that position and start walking back to the restroom?
Yes.
Okay. Safe to say that you're on the bus, that you don't know what's happening outside the bus in terms of traffic flow?
Yes, I did. After I got up from that position, I looked to the front,
Okay.
and I saw out the window that there was traffic.
Okay. Is that unusual traffic in front of Columbus?
No.
Okay. At any point in time, did you see Caitlin Owens?
Yes.
And where did you encounter her?
Towards the back, and I saw her on the right side of the bus.
Okay. Did you have any interaction with her?
Yes.
What kind of interaction?
I told her that I had to use the restroom because we have an inside joke about that.
What's the inside joke?
That her nickname was Tinkle because she always had to go pee, so I just laughed with her about that.
Okay. Did you try to open the bathroom door?
Yes, I did.
Were you able to open the bathroom door?
No,
Okay. Any particular reason why?
I don't know.
Okay. When you tried to open the bathroom door, what happened next?
I don't remember everything. I don't remember until I woke up.
Okay. So you lost consciousness?
Yes.
Okay. And when you woke up, describe what you were seeing, experiencing.
My ears were ringing very, very loudly. I could not hear. I also, there was black, it was pitch black. I could not see a thing, but I heard people yelling.
Okay. Where was your body physically at that time?
My head was towards the front of the bus and I was in the middle of the aisle, on my
Okay.
back.
Did you recognize anyone around you?
No,
Okay. How did you get up?
I did not get up at all. Someone had to drag me off the bus.
Okay. Do you know who dragged you off the bus?
Yes,
Okay. Who dragged?
Josh Chica, which I did not know at the time, but now I do.
Okay. Was he part of the chaperone group or?
No,
At any point in time, did you see J.D. Worrell at your feet?
yes.
And what did he look like?
He did not look awake, but I did see blood on his forehead.
Okay. At any point in time, did Miss Charton try to help you?
Yes,
Was that before Mr. Chica?
yes.
Okay. What did she try to do to help you?
She tried to go underneath my armpits with her arms and drag me off, but she couldn't.
Okay. When you got off the bus, and I guess before that, you said you didn't know Josh Chica at the time. Do you recall what he was wearing?
For
Hold
sure.
on 1 second. Yes.
I'd let this go for a little while, because she's my own child, but I'd like to object. We've admitted to injury, we've admitted to death, we've admitted that the vehicle was the causation of this.
I haven't received the stipulations yet.
Yeah, I'm objecting to relevance with regards to Mr. McDonald's driving of the semi-truck, whether he was negligent or reckless. This testimony after the fact.
Response?
Well, the one is that we haven't put the stipulations before the court, that's one. But there's an issue as to the bus braking that was brought up, which is two. What happened with the kids on the bus is apparently important, since the defense has also subpoenaed people that were on the bus. So we are going to offer testimony as to the braking efforts on the bus and who was on the bus. I
Okay.
believe that they are relevant.
Objection is overruled. Go ahead.
Thank you. You're going to ask me to repeat the question now, aren't you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Repeat the question.
Okay. Do you know what Mr. Chica was wearing at the time?
Yes. I don't fully remember what color shirt, lacquer blue, but he did have glasses on.
Okay. In terms of when you got off the bus, did anyone pull you further away from the bus?
Yes. So Josh Chica, he kind of like put me down the stairs, and then, would you like me to name names?
If you know.
So Luke McCoy, Jaden Copen, and Miss Mary Gensley, they had pulled me farther away from the bus.
Okay. Did you require any medical care?
Yes.
What kind of medical care?
I don't know if it was, I think it was EMS. They came over and asked me what state I was in, and I just told them I could not feel anything from the waist down.
Okay. Were you taking them out Parmalee?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of injuries did you have?
I had a severe concussion. I also had burns to the right and left side of my face. I had a very large burn on my left upper arm on the back side. I had 9 rib fractures. I also had a bladder laceration and multiple pelvic fractures. And lastly, my sacrum had split and went up on my spinal cord, which led to me not feeling my legs.
Okay. Do you recall how long, when you said you felt the bus was braking, to the time that you were back at the bathroom trying to get in? What kind of time period are we talking about?
I would say a minute and a half at most.
Okay, so it's pretty,
It happened very fast.
okay. Was there any other sharp braking that you noticed between the time period of when you got back up and the time period you started walking back to the bus?
No.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination?
I have no questions, Ron. Thank you.
No?
No questions.
Thank you. Ma'am, you may step down. Your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State would call Mary Gensley. Introduce yourself to the judge.
Hi, I'm Mary Gensley. I'm the high school band director.
And how long have you been high school band director?
For Tusky Valley, 38 years.
Okay. And were you employed on the 14th of November 2023?
Yes.
Okay. Why was the band going to the Columbus Convention Center on that particular day?
We were going to perform for the Ohio School Board's convention that they were having in Columbus, and one of our board members had recently been voted in as the president of that organization, and she asked me if the marching band would come down and perform and be the entertainment for the convention.
Okay. And I'm assuming you said yes?
Of course.
In terms, so this is an honor?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Any particular way that was discussed how the band would get there?
At first, I thought we would be taking school buses, but then the school decided that they were going to have a coach for us to take us down.
Okay. And you did in fact take a coach on November 14, 2023?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Were there enough seats on the coach?
Not for all the students, the directors, and chaperones.
Okay. In terms of students on the bus, approximately how many were there?
About 54 to 55.
Okay. And how many chaperones?
There were, there were 3 directors, and then I think we had, I know for sure, 3 chaperones.
Okay. In terms of sitting, where were you sitting on the bus?
I was in the very front, on the right-hand side, and I was sitting in the aisle seat.
Okay. And who was sitting next to you?
Kim Charton.
And what's Kim's function with the band?
She's a volunteer, and she's been with the band and volunteering ever since her daughter graduated from high school. She likes to do that.
Was Mr. Tripp on the bus?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And what's Mr. Tripp's relationship to the band?
He is the assistant high school band director and the middle school director at the school.
Okay. And do you know David Cannett at the time?
David, yeah,
And
yes.
What was his relationship to the band?
Okay, David was, or Dave, he was our announcer, our band announcer.
Okay. Kristen Gaynor?
A parent of one of our students and a chaperone.
And Shannon Wakefield?
A parent of one of our students and also a chaperone.
Did they ride on the bus?
They weren't able to, because there weren't enough seats.
Okay. Did you lend them keys to your personal vehicle?
Yes, I gave my car, Dave didn't want to drive either one of his vehicles. He didn't think either one of them was good enough to drive down. And I told him I had just gotten my car detailed and it had just been serviced, and he was more than welcome to take my car and drive.
Okay, now it'd have been a silver 2015 Nissan Murano?
That's correct.
Okay. And prior to leaving, did the bus driver have a pre-trip safety
No,
breakdown of any kind?
no, he did not.
Okay. Were there any assigned seats on the bus?
No, we have a specific order though, and I've given my students, as they get older, they get more privileges. So the seniors always get to load the bus first. And so it went seniors, and then the juniors, and then the sophomores, and then the freshmen.
Okay, so the folks that would have been primarily in the back of the bus would have been who?
The older students are seniors, because most of the time, that's where they like to ride, and so they get first choice.
Was there any discussion about which route to take with the bus driver?
As we were going through Zor, I kind of asked him, because I have a daughter that lives down here in the Columbus area, and I always travel like 77 to 36 to 161, and I like that route. And so I asked him, had he decided which route we were going, and he said, yeah, he figured that we would go 77 to 70, and then I explained to him that of the route that I normally would go, and he said, well, I think we're gonna be able to get there faster if we take the 77 to 70. And I said, okay, well, you're the driver, it's your decision.
Okay. Is that the route that was taken?
It is.
Okay. In terms of any abnormal driving by the bus driver, did you notice any?
Not really. I thought it was driving just perfectly fine.
No speeding?
Not that I was aware of.
No fast cuts in and out of traffic?
No, none at all.
No sudden braking?
No, not really.
Okay. Was there any time where the bus driver had to brake more than just tap the brakes?
There might have been just one time that might have been a little bit more of a, than a gradual, but nothing out of the ordinary, I don't feel.
So you left at about what time, do you think?
It was really close to, I think, 6:50 going on 7,
Okay.
and that's the time I wanted to leave.
Okay, why is that?
Because I knew it would take us about 2 hours to get there.
Okay.
And I wanted to arrive around 9 or a little after, because we had to unload, we had to go in, find our room, we had to also get our instruments out, warm up and tune, and then our practice session was scheduled for around 10:30. And I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time to get all that done.
At any point in time, did you fall asleep on the bus?
No, no,
Prior to the collision that occurred here, did you look up at any point in time?
oh yeah, I always scan and watch, us. I'm never looking down all the time, no.
Okay. Prior to the collision, did any of the actions of the bus driver cause you to look forward?
To look forward,
Yes.
No.
To see brake lights of any traffic or anything slowing down?
Okay, when we were about just slightly past the sign that says 20 miles from Columbus,
Okay.
I noticed that when I looked up, I saw, especially to the left in the turning lane, that there were red lights, the tail lights, and then I scanned to the right and looked in front of us, and I saw more red lights, and my last thought in my mind was, oh great, there's either an accident or there is construction up ahead. Are we gonna be late? Is
Okay.
this gonna cause us to be late?
But nothing in that action caused you to believe that there was gonna be a collision of any kind?
Oh, definitely not. I mean, as soon as I saw the red lights, I noticed our coach driver started to slow down. He noticed, I think we noticed about the same time.
Did he have any trouble bringing his Van Hole bus to a stop without hitting anyone?
I do not remember coming to a stop. I remember slowing down.
Okay. So there was no stop.
I don't remember any stop.
So if it was suggested by someone that there was a stopping of traffic, that's not what your recollection would be?
That is not what my recollection of it was.
Okay. There was a collision with the bus.
Yes.
What was your first understanding that a collision had occurred?
Well, it was right after he started to slow down, and I had already seen like the red, the lights up ahead. And it was there was a distance up ahead. It wasn't like real close to us. It was a distance up. Then I felt this slam, and it felt like it came from the back. And then I blacked out, and I felt like, I think there might have been a second one, if I remember, a second slam into somewhere. I just don't remember where it came from. It kind of felt maybe it could have been from the back, but I totally blacked out. That's how hard we were hit, and I was all the way up in the front.
When you came to, what was going on?
My mind was I was in a fog, and I was trying to figure out what had just happened. And I wasn't totally, aware yet. And I looked over across the bus driver where he was seated, and all of a sudden, the corner of the bus started caving in and coming apart. And I was trying to figure out what is going on. I mean, it was like, I don't know, I just couldn't figure out why that was happening. And then I kind of looked to the front, and when I looked to the front, after a few seconds, then the windshield just caved in, and my mind is still trying to figure out what is going on. And so I was just in a daze. I felt I was in a daze, and seeing this stuff happening and trying to figure out what had just happened. And so then I started hearing the kids on the bus, commotion on the bus. And so I think I stood up and turned around in the aisle, and I saw this white haze in the bus. And I started going, guys, what's the white haze in the bus? What's going on? What's the white haze in the bus? And then Cam McCoy, because I recognized his voice, said, the bus is on fire. The bus is on fire. And when he said that, I snapped out of it. Whatever I was in, it just that's what got me out of the days I was in. So I immediately said, get off the bus right now. Get off the bus. I said, leave your stuff. Get off the bus. And I stepped back into my seated area to let the kids off first. And they started coming off the bus, and I kept repeating, get off the bus now. And I said, leave your stuff, because sometimes kids will want to pick up their stuff and go with them. I said, don't, just get off the bus. And they were really great. They started getting off the bus right away.
How did the bus door get open?
I remember right when the first student went down, and I don't even remember who the first student was. When they went down to where the door, it seemed like it was slightly ajar. Not quite closed all the way, but just a little bit, and I think they pried it open with their hand, and they were able to open it up. And then they started all getting off the bus as quickly as they could.
What'd you do when you got off the bus?
Well, I felt that the kids were too close to the coach. And so I kept telling him, get up farther, and I kept waving him on until I go, keep running. And then I got him off to a distance where I thought it was safe enough that if the bus was gonna blow up or something like that, they would be out of that area.
Okay. When you got off the bus, did you notice what had hit the bus?
No, I still didn't know what had happened, to be honest with you.
Okay. Did you see your vehicle, your 2015 Nissan Murano?
No, and right at the moment, it was just getting the kids off, getting up to safety. And the thing I think that I was thinking was, I thought all the kids were off the bus. I thought everyone had gotten off. Because when the last kid went off, I figured, okay, it's okay for me to get off the bus. The thought had not even occurred to me yet that there were still kids on the bus.
Okay, at some point in time, did you have the kids line up in sections of the play?
Yes, I did. I had them sit, get in sections, because that was for me the quickest way to figure out who was missing.
Okay,
Yes.
and who was missing?
One of the clarinets, which was Caitlin, and then two of my percussionists, Wyatt and JD.
At any point in time, did you try to figure out what happened to your Murano?
Okay, yes, I did. After I called 911 and the first responders were there, and after I knew that the kids, we had an accurate count of who was there, then I started thinking, where's Dave and Christy and Shannon? And I was like, I know they were following us, maybe they got farther behind us. So I started with Dave's number first and tried calling him, and he didn't respond. And then I tried, I think, Shannon's number next. I'm not sure exactly which one, but I tried all three. Couldn't get a hold of them. And then their kids were saying, Gens, I can't get a hold of my mom. And I said, I know, I can't either. I've been trying. And they said, what should we do? And I said, just keep trying to get a hold of them. You just need to keep trying to get a hold of them, because I'm not sure where they are.
Okay. At some point that changed?
Yes.
You suffered some injuries.
Nothing major. I think I had severe whiplash, which is still bothering me. And then I just had a bruise, and my ankle was hurting, but nothing major.
Okay. Thank you.
Cross-examination?
Morning.
Good morning.
You testified just a moment ago that you felt 2 impacts from the rear.
Yeah, I felt an initial really heart attack, and then I felt another one. It wasn't as severe as the first one, but I don't know exactly where I felt it came from.
And you were sitting next to Kim Charton?
That's
Is that
correct.
She's the other, she's a volunteer, right?
Yes.
Okay, but an adult, right? She's not one of the band members?
What was that?
She's an adult, correct?
Yeah, she's an adult, yes.
Right, okay. So you were in a position to observe probably things that she would as well?
Probably, since we
Yeah.
were both sitting there.
Did you observe the bus driver taking phone calls during the course of the flight?
I think I heard him, I thought he was actually talking to us at one time. And then I looked over, and I think he was talking on his phone.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Redirect.
Thank you. Did he have the physical phone in his hand?
No.
How was he talking on the phone then at the time?
I think he had an earbud in his ear, and he was talking with an earbud.
Okay, so like with a headset.
Yes.
You didn't see him manipulating the phone to dial any numbers or anything like that?
I did not see that.
You didn't see him play any video games or watch any movies or anything like that?
No, he was not doing that.
Okay, thank you, nothing further.
Recross.
No recross, Your Honor.
Thank you, man. You may step down.
Thank you.
Your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The State would call Kim Charton. Please stand.
You solemnly swear to testify that you're about to give in this case, now being heard, is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Have a seat. Can you state your full name and spell your last name, please, for record?
Kimberly S. Charton, Charton.
Thank you, ma'am.
You may go.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, glad to be starting this.
Thank you. I want to go back to November 14th, 2023. Did you have any official responsibilities with Tusky Valley?
I am a 20-year volunteer with the high school band.
Okay. Play an instrument?
I played clarinet when I was in the high school. I still do.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you if you're any good at it or anything like that. But did you teach clarinet to any of the band members, or?
Yeah, I help however I can help in the band, so that I do help out, especially with clarinet.
Okay. Were you heading to Columbus on that particular day with the band?
Yes, I was.
And why?
To go to see Sally Green be installed as the school board president of the Ohio State School Board.
Okay. Was the band going to play?
Yes, the band was going to play.
Is that an honor?
It was a very big honor that day, yes.
Okay. And where were you on this bus? Where were you sitting?
I was on the passenger side, the front seat, against the window.
Okay. Anyone next to you? Or?
Ms. Gensley, the band director, was beside me.
Okay. And how long have you known Ms. Gensley?
Well, my daughter graduated in 2005, so 8 years before that was probably when I first met Ms. Gensley.
Okay. What position does she have with the band?
Ms. Gensley's the head band director.
Okay. And in terms of how many of the folks on the bus were in the band?
Well, there were 54 on the bus, and 3 of us were adults, so 51.
Okay. And the third adult on the bus besides the driver would have been who?
Well, I guess there were 4 on the bus, then counting the driver. Mr. Tripp, the assistant band director.
Okay. And I'm assuming you know him as well?
Yes.
So you were sitting in the front of the bus on the passenger side, you said?
Yes.
Okay. And about what time did the bus leave Tusky?
I honestly do not remember that detail.
Okay. Was it early or late in the morning?
It was early morning.
Okay. Were you there when the bus was loaded up?
Yes.
Okay. And who loaded the bus up?
We load up by class order, so seniors get on the bus first, juniors, sophomores, freshmen.
Okay. And how did the instruments get to where they're at?
But instruments were loaded beforehand underneath the bus, unless it was a small instrument. Clarinets and flutes went on the bus in storage there.
Okay. The trip itself, what roads did the bus take, if you know?
We got on 77 and headed south. So I don't know if that takes us to 70 then. I don't know. That wasn't in detail. That was important to me.
Okay. Was there any conversation before leaving what the roads the bus was going to take were?
The bus driver asked us if we should take a smaller road, and Ms. Gensley and I both told him to just head to 77.
Okay. Assuming you're familiar with 77?
Mm-hmm.
Are you also familiar with 70?
Somewhat.
Okay. And I'm assuming you probably have taken that once before, a couple of times before, into Columbus.
Not since.
Okay, I understand that. What kind of road is that?
It's a interstate, so major highway, probably 70-mile-an-hour speed limit.
In terms of traffic congestion on that roadway?
It was not heavy traffic.
Okay. And so at some point in time, was there an incident with the bus braking or stopping before a secondary collision?
Yes. We
Okay.
stopped.
How far into the ride do you think that occurred?
We were almost to our destination. We were about 15 minutes out from the convention center, so.
Okay. Talk to us about the braking prior to that time period. Was there any erratic braking by the bus driver prior to that?
No.
Was there any unusual braking
No.
of any kind before that? Did the bus driver appear to be speeding at any point in time to you?
No.
Any unusual moving from one lane to another or unusual driving by the bus driver?
No.
Okay. And then talk to us about the braking incident before the collision. How would you describe that braking?
I was not facing forward. I was I was looking at my phone, we were trying to determine where we were, because we were supposed to call when we were about 15 minutes away from our destination. So I was talking to Ms. Gensley and looking at my phone, and all of a sudden, we were braking pretty hard.
Okay. When you say braking pretty hard,
Probably about all he had.
okay, so you think he was fully braking?
I do,
Okay, and do you know why?
because the traffic had stopped for a wreck in front of us.
Okay, so you believe the traffic had stopped at that point?
I do.
Okay. And had you seen the vehicles that were in front of you at this point in time?
The only vehicle I saw when we had stopped completely, was a white tractor trailer in front of us. That's all I saw.
Okay. Did you see a red SUV?
I did. I was in the front row. There was a metal bar. I hope that's a padded bar at this point in time. But I hit that and flung back in our seats. I realized, I didn't know our seats reclined. When I looked back, all the seats had been reclined at that point from the impact. It was, do you want me to describe what I saw? Is it after it hit, or?
I just asked you
Okay.
about
That's fine.
this point. At that point in time, was there an effort to get off the bus?
Ms. Gensley stood up and told him we needed to get off the bus.
Okay. Do you know how the bus door was opened?
I do not know, but it was open.
Did you have the opportunity to see the bus driver after that impact, that collision?
Yes, because
Okay. And what condition was the bus driver?
both of his feet were bloodied.
Okay. So he had appeared to have sustained some injuries to you.
The front part of the bus had been pushed back into him, yes.
Okay. And did you see how or why the front part of the bus was pushed back into him?
We were pushed into the tractor trailer in front of us.
Okay. And how would you characterize that collision into the tractor trailer in front of you?
It appeared slow motion at the time. We were pushed a long way down the road, and it just slowly folded in on the driver, and then the front windows collapsed.
So the bus driver wasn't very close to the tractor trailer in front of him?
When we stopped?
Yes.
No, we were pushed into it.
Okay. And you think that was a pretty big distance?
When we stopped, between the tractor trailer in front of us from when we stopped,
Yes.
probably about a car and a half length, maybe two.
Okay. What did you do when you got off the bus?
Mr. Tripp, after we got all the kids off that could walk off, I turned back and Mr. Tripp told me, we still have kids trapped on the bus and it's bad. I don't know why, but I took my coat and my purse and set it outside the bus, came back on, and by then Mr. Tripp had Bryn Goedel, who had just testified. She was laying on the floor, and I went back to try to get her off the bus because she couldn't walk.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you were seated next to Miss Gensley on the bus, right?
Right.
And you're next to the window.
Yes.
Okay. And then after the accident occurred and you were outside the bus, at some point in time, you spoke to the highway patrol?
Briefly.
Okay. You gave them a statement, though.
The highway patrol, I did not give a statement to at the bus.
Did Trooper Keaton ever speak to you?
That name's familiar, but not, he might have been at the NTSB
Okay.
interview.
Do you remember talking to an officer after the accident?
I had an officer ask me for a bus list of passengers.
Did you describe to him the accident
No,
itself?
no.
So it's your testimony here today that you never talked to a Trooper Keaton at all to describe the event?
If Officer Keaton was the one that was at my interview with the NTSB, then yes.
Okay. And you told Trooper Keaton that you'd been volunteering for the school band for about 20 years, right?
Right.
Okay. And I think you described the bus driver taking approximately 4 phone calls, correct?
Yes,
Okay, you described that as hands-free.
yes,
Okay. And I think you told the trooper that you felt that the bus driver was following too close to the traffic ahead of him.
I did.
Okay. You also stated that when the crash occurred, you were looking at your phone at the time, right?
Correct.
Okay. And the bus stopped quickly.
Yes,
Okay. And you described it as fast braking and aggressive braking.
yes,
Okay. Like it needed to stop now, I think were your exact words.
yes,
Okay. You didn't hear any tires squealing.
I did not.
Okay. And you explained to the trooper that the difference between the hard braking or the aggressive braking in your description of the bus and the impact was mere seconds.
Yes.
No further questions, thank you.
Redirect.
No redirect, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. You may step down. Your next witness.
Stephen Tripp.
Solemnly swear the testimony that you have to give in this case now being heard is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Take a seat. You state your full names for your last name for the record, sir.
My name's Stephen Tripp.
Spell your last name for me.
Tripp.
Thanks, sir.
You may inquire.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, I want to go back to Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. What was your function or what was your relationship with Tusky Valley School?
So I'm the 5 through 8 band director, and I assist with the high school band. So I'm there in rehearsals every day, looking for sectionals, just at all the events.
Okay, and how long have you been with Tusky Valley? And
This is year 8
okay,
at Tusky Valley.
so you're the assistant band director for the high school band, and you're the band director 5 through 8. Okay, what instruments, if any, do you play?
I'm a trumpet and guitar guy.
It's okay. Something wrong with that. Do you know where the band was going on Tuesday, November 23rd?
It was the Ohio School Board Association Conference in Columbus Convention Center.
Okay. And that was November 14th, 2023? Okay. And why was the band going there, sir?
We were the performance, my understanding was the big convocation. We would be on the main stage there, just kind of entering music as people were filing in to the event.
Okay, so it's a pretty big honor?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the, how was the band supposed to get to Columbus from Tusky?
We were taking a charter bus,
Okay.
loading up that morning and driving straight down.
Okay, and how were the instruments loaded?
Underneath in the undercarriage of the bus.
Who did
Most
that?
of the instruments, the kids were helping, just kind of set them in there, and then I don't remember if I was helping organize them. We had some of the smaller instruments like flutes, clarinets were going on the bus, just because it was a little easier to get to them. They wouldn't be shifting around as much.
Okay. And, sir, did you actually ride on the bus?
I did.
About where on the bus did you ride?
I was 5 or 6 rows up on the driver's side from the back.
Okay. I show row 8, driver's side.
Okay.
Does that sound right?
I know we sat down and did the seating chart, but I don't remember exactly. It's been a while now. It was roughly in that area here.
Okay. In terms of where people sat in the bus, was there any assigned order?
There was not.
Okay. So you could sit pretty much anywhere you wanted to?
Correct.
Okay. Bathroom on the bus?
Was in the back.
Okay.
I was the last one on, so I there were 2 kids sitting by themselves. I had one sit with the other, because otherwise I'd be sitting by a student. There'd be a student sitting by themselves. So
Okay. Are you familiar, or was the route discussed that the bus was going to take to Columbus?
I wasn't really involved in the planning process, or just day of help. I was there kind of to fix instruments, help make sure we had things where they needed to be
Okay.
as we go.
In terms of the bus itself, how was the bus driver reacting to the road conditions?
Most of the drive, I was working on my master's at the time, so I had a tablet, and I had 2 chapters to do. I was trying to do 1 chapter on the way down, 1 chapter on the way back. So I don't remember any significant, nothing that really caused concern on the way down.
No hard braking?
until the very, when the traffic started slowing down there, right before the incident.
Okay, but before that, no hard braking,
Not that caught my attention.
no lane changes or anything like that?
Not that caught my attention, no.
Okay. You mentioned, you know, at the time of the impact or the collision, talk to us about when you first realized that there was a collision and what events happened before that.
Just before we started slowing down, and I was sitting pretty close to the back, so I couldn't tell exactly what was going ahead of us. We did slow down enough that I picked my head up to kind of see what was going on. And I remember looking back down, and then we were hit from behind.
Okay, was the bus moving when you were hit from behind, if you know?
I don't know for sure if it was moving or completely stopped.
Okay. And was, when the bus was hit from behind, what happened next?
We were getting pushed, so I wasn't sure if we were getting pushed or if we had gone off the road and I was bouncing around in my seat, kind of ended up in the seat next to me, just getting jostled around.
It was a pretty violent impact.
Yeah, it was pretty violent.
Okay. Was there a second impact?
It was like an impact and then like an immediate push. And again, I didn't know, I wasn't sure if it was some kind of chain reaction crash or if it was, we had gone off road, there was just a lot of movement, everybody was getting thrown around on the bus.
Okay. How did you get off the bus, sir?
Out the front door.
Okay. And what led to you getting off the bus? I'm assuming right after the impact, there were decisions made, instructions given.
Right.
Walk us through that.
So right after the impact, everybody kind of jumped out of their seat to see what was going on. I told everybody to sit down so we could kind of assess the situation. I got up and turned around, and it just takes a second to process because nothing's where it should be. There's like big debris everywhere. There's instruments, there's codes. You know, it was cold out that day. Nobody had their coats on. They were all sitting in the seats, so everything was thrown around the bus. There was kind of like a haze, and it was hard to process right at the beginning. Just a lot of things that weren't where they were supposed to be.
Okay. Did anyone yell to get off the bus?
We did. So
Okay. Did the students then start exiting the bus?
yeah, it seemed like they were being held up in the front just a little bit. I don't know if they were gathering their things, if they didn't realize how bad it was. And I was really focused on the back, just trying to. There were kids kind of trapped in the back corner. Some large debris kind of in the way there. We had some. The one JD was on the ground, not responsive, and then tangled up with him was Bren, who was responsive. And I said, "Bren, can you move?" She said, "I can't feel anything." And it was just big heavy. I don't know if it was part of the bathroom door or the ceiling or the above the bins that go above the seats. Something big and heavy. Trying to move that out of the way because kids in the back saying they can't get out. We had some kids that were just kind of in shock, and I remember one kid, I whacked him because he was just like sitting there and he needed to move. Just trying to get out. Kids were climbing over seats. It's kind of helping them move over seats. Trying to move stuff out of the way because kids couldn't get out. They were just stuck in the back.
Were you able to get anyone off the bus?
I was able, so first I had kids who were in the back corner who were stuck. I was able to move the big things out of the way, and they were crawling over the seats, and I was kind of helping them. And then I started working on the middle aisle, because there were other kids in the back right corner that I couldn't get to. There was no way to get back to them right away. So just moving debris, and then I kind of drug JD and Bryn out. I told Bryn to grab onto me, and I kind of gave her like a bear hug and just pulled as hard as I could. And we got her part way up the bus, and I got JD most of the way up the bus. And then thankfully somebody, Josh Chica, came in and he started dragging the kids off the bus from the front there. And at some point, I just saw out the window, like I could see the semi. So I think I pulled one of the kids close to the front and then ran out real quick, saw what was going on, ran back on. In the back corner, Tori Wilson, one of our students, was there, and she's she's trapped between the seats, like pinned between the seats, can't get out. So I'm kind of coaching her, having her help pull herself up. I'm running to the back and kind of pulling on seats. And the seats weren't moving very much. There wasn't enough she could get out. She kind of pulled herself out after I pulled the seats apart. And then Xander Tidrick was in the back corner, and he was totally pinned, couldn't get out, and I'm just cranking on the seats as hard as I can. And he's able to pull himself up and started kind of falling out the window. And there was one more student. Wyatt was in the back, Wyatt Mosley, and I'm just pulling on the seats and they won't move. And he's totally stuck. And at that point, you can see smoke and fire inside the cabin. So I ran outside. Xander was still hanging out the window, so I went back and started pulling on his arm, just trying to rip him out of there. And something was hung up. We made some progress at first. He probably came out about a foot, and then he was just hung up. We couldn't get him, or I couldn't get him. I was thinking I needed to move, maybe pull in the other direction, and right then there was an explosion. So something blew up right that second. I don't know if it was something from the SUV or something that fell off the semi-truck. That kind of caught me, it spun me back, and it felt like a bad sunburn on my face afterwards. And Josh Sheik and one other guy ran up and started lifting him out the window. So I ran back on the bus. As I'm going in, there's somebody, I think it was a police officer, who said, "Don't get back on there," and I just went on anyway. And I yelled, "Is anybody still in here?" And I thought I heard something. I don't know if it's, they were still working on him out the window. And I pushed about halfway back. I was just coughing. I couldn't see anything. I remember coming back off the bus, and I said, "I think we still have kids trapped in there." And I just remember two people just, shrugging. That's kind of the image that stuck with me, is there were some people standing by who, didn't jump in right then. Then we saw the patrol car pull up, and he had a fire extinguisher in the back. So we went back over. He kind of led the way, and Josh and I were behind him, just kind of pushing up. There was nothing left to do at that point.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
So you testified prior to the accident, you're working on a master's?
Right.
Is that through an iPad or a laptop?
I had a Surface Pro. It was music for world cultures.
Okay. What master's degree are you doing?
Music education.
Okay. So your objective was to do a chapter on the way there and a chapter on the way back?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So your attention was, is it fair to say, was engrossed in the material that you were learning?
Yeah,
at
for the
time?
most part. Yeah.
Okay, so you probably weren't paying attention to too much going on around you?
Yeah, as far as the road conditions or anything.
And there was an event that caused you to look up prior to the impact?
Yeah, we had a heartbreaking event.
You had a heartbreaking event which caused you to look up, and then you felt the impact from behind?
I remember looking back down because it seemed like we had stopped or were almost stopped, and then we had the impact behind.
Okay, so mere seconds, is that fair? Thank you, no further questions.
Redirect.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step down. Why don't we take a 15-minute break? Resume.
All rise. There's no recess. Nice, he's out.
Taking down the mark one.
This thing? No.
Yeah, you can unplug this red one. Hang on. The red one.
Well, you can unplug it up too, he's not using that. Right? That was the dispatch, but it's not working, so.
Right now, pretty much. It's not nothing or anything, it's just, it is what it is. It's the worst time of year, it's supposed to be raining.
maybe for later. Right, I know. Right. But I
Maybe for tomorrow, reporter should be down here,
Yeah.
because I hear a lot of typing.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right, I didn't realize it was like,
Yeah, yeah. I'll snuggle up with Lacey.
yeah, I just keep going.
Do you guys know if there's a hard out time? Like for 4 o'clock? Yeah. Well, Lacey's not. Long girl. Yeah.
I didn't ask him my name.
I probably won't.
Yeah.
I'll probably just say
No, we're just.
a minor.
Okay.
Yeah.
He says, you have a problem down with it.
No.
Yeah, so let's see. Oh, because I was like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like before,
It's fine. That's,
that's why I was like.
yeah.
I just want to.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. One thing she said, I'm just not saying.
solemnly swear testimony that you're about to give this case now being heard is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Proceed. You state your full name, spell your last name, please, for the record, sir.
Brandon Marshall, Marchal.
Thanks, sir.
You may court.
Thank you, Aaron. Good morning, sir. Sir, do you remember what you were doing on Tuesday, November 14th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
What would that be?
I was coming back from Zanesville area with a semi-truck trailer loaded.
Okay. And so you have a Class A license?
Yes, sir.
What is a Class A license?
It's an endorsement, drive commercial motor vehicle, combination vehicle, 80,000 pound with air brakes.
Okay. And how does one get a Class A license?
You go through, there's a written portion test, driving course to take, and you're right, then you go from there.
Okay. Are you allowed to do commercial hauls?
Yes.
Okay. And traffic in that area.
A lot of people commuting to Columbus for work.
Okay. A lot of accidents there? If you don't know, I don't want you to guess.
I don't know. I
Okay.
can't answer that now.
How long have you been driving that route?
5 years now.
Okay. Have you ever had a collision?
No.
Okay. Going back to Tuesday, November 14, 2023, were you operating a 2014 Volvo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did that have a dash cam or recording camera?
Had a front facing camera.
Okay. And was that active?
Yes.
Okay. I want to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 5. Are you familiar with State's Exhibit number 5, sir?
Yes, sir.
What is State's Exhibit number 5?
Coming into slow traffic, I was well
That's
prepared.
sign 117 there,
Yes.
or 118?
That's 118.
118. Okay, so this is State Route or Interstate 70.
Yes, coming into Pataxco.
Okay, is that in Lincoln County, Ohio, where you're at?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you've driven that road, you indicated, for a considerable period of years, 5 of them?
Yes.
Okay, and sir, this is pre-crash, if I'm correct. This is the beginning of the tape?
Correct.
Okay. Sir, about what distance do you believe that you had? Apologize. About what distance do you believe that you had at that particular time with any oncoming other traffic in front of you?
I can't recall.
Were they right on top of you, sir?
Not that I know.
Well, looking at the camera, are they right on top of you?
No.
Okay. And again, this is pre-impact.
Yes.
Apologize. I'm looking at, this would be the first car in front of you. It appears to be a red vehicle.
Yes.
Okay. And nothing else is in front of you. It doesn't feel like anything is on the side of you.
Correct.
And this is the start of this.
Yes.
And again, this video truly and accurately depicts the preceding events that you would have been able to see at this point in time. Is that a yes?
Yes.
Now, sir, it appears that you were impacted at this point,
Correct.
okay? And it looks like there's a speed,
Up in the corner.
right? And that shows 10 miles per hour
Yes.
in your location. So you were never stopped, were you?
No, I was coming to a slow.
Okay? And just playing this forward, tell me when that red car in front of you right here stops, sir. It's still moving, isn't it?
Yeah, it never,
What about the white truck? Is that stopped?
no,
The blue van in front of it?
no,
The silver car to your left?
nope,
So if someone was to suggest that traffic had come to a stop, would that be accurate?
no.
And sir, after this collision, and before this collision, it looks like you were doing about 33 miles an hour. Is that a yes?
Yes,
And you slowed to 10.
correct.
Okay. Is that unusual?
That is unusual, yes.
Why is that?
I was thinking I was coming into Columbus rush hour traffic.
Okay. Is Columbus rush hour traffic unusual?
Being out that far, yes.
Okay. What about these wonderful barrels that we see on the other side of the roadway?
The construction barrels.
Are they unusual?
No, those are,
The actual road there, is that a hilly road? Is it a flat grade? How is that road?
flat.
Okay, it looks like there's a white fog line on the right-hand side, and it looks like there's also a zipper or in the center line.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Any ice on the road, sir?
Nope,
You're heading west. This is in the morning. The sun would have been to your back.
yes.
Okay, so no inclement weather of any
No.
kind?
Nope, it was nice out that day.
The impact itself on your semi, did that do any damage?
To the trailer. It damaged the trailer, not the truck.
Okay. And how did you find out or learn that your trailer had been damaged?
It just a natural instinct knowing being hit. And when I actually went back and looked at it.
Okay. Did you at any point in time prior to this see a white Van Hool bus following you?
You're asking about the charter bus?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And about where would you have seen that?
At least a half a mile prior
Okay.
in my rearview mirror, because I knew we were traveling together.
Okay. Was the Van Hool bus tailgating you?
No,
Was the Van Hool bus on top of you?
no,
Is anything that the Van Hool bus driver doing that would cause you concern in the manner in which you were operating your vehicle?
no, I can't answer that because I focused on myself.
Okay. But what kind of weight is your semi, your trailer, and the load in and half?
I was weighted at 76,000.
76,000 pounds?
Yeah.
How would you describe the impact of the bus? Did it move your vehicle at all?
It did move, yes.
Okay. Was it a hard hit, or was it, what kind of hit on the back of your vehicle?
It was a significantly hard hit.
Okay. After the hit, and you said you pulled over to the side?
Yes.
Okay. What did you do next, sir?
I seen the fire in my rearview mirror, so I grabbed my fire extinguisher and ran to the bus.
Okay. And what did you see on the bus, or to the bus?
I seen the damage on the front of the bus and the impact on the back. The
Okay.
fire.
Had the fire started when you first got back there?
Yes.
Okay. About how long did it take for police to show up, if you recall? If you don't, I don't want you to guess.
I don't know.
Okay. At any point in time, did you become aware of something that had collided into the bus from the rear? Again, if you didn't, I don't want you to guess.
No.
Okay. Do you have an automatic or do you have a standard?
An automatic.
Okay. When did automatics start becoming popular with semis?
It'd been the start of like 2015, 16 era.
Okay. What's the difference between the two?
One you have to shift, and the other one you don't have to. It's just like driving a car.
Okay. Is it, I'm assuming, then easier to drive than
Yes,
the standard?
a lot easier.
A lot less work on the actual driver of a vehicle.
Yes,
So with a lot less effort at work to drive a standard versus an automatic, you have the opportunity to do some other things potentially too.
correct.
Okay. Are you required to have an ELD of any kind?
No, we follow under the. We're an exempt under 150 mile radius.
Okay. So you don't have to log your miles or anything else?
We just keep a daily time sheet.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, and if you know, is it easier to brake or stop a semi that has an automatic transmission versus a manual transmission?
To me, it's the same.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination?
This Volvo that you're driving, I think you stated it's an automatic, correct?
Yes.
And as you're in your 76,000 pounds roughly?
Yes.
So as you're approaching the traffic, you're slowing the vehicle down through downshifts, right?
Yes.
The transmission, you use that because if you were on the brakes all the time, you'd burn the brakes up, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're using the truck, do you have a Jake brake on that?
Exhaust brake.
I'm sorry?
It's an exhaust brake. but
That's the same
yeah.
thing, would you agree?
Yes.
Jake brake, they use the compression from the exhaust to help slow the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have the Jake braking
Yes.
or exhaust brake? I'm sorry, I'll use your terminology.
Yes.
You had that engaged?
Yep.
Okay. So that plus the downshift of the transmission begins to bring that truck down, slow down, right?
Yes.
Okay. And would you agree, in these last few seconds here, you're going 33 miles an hour, you don't hit the brakes on the actual vehicle until about between here and that red car?
I was on the brakes the whole time because the Volvo truck, once you step on the brake, it's supposed to engage the exhaust.
That's what engages your exhaust?
Yeah, when I
Okay.
was slowing down.
Okay. And were you paying attention to the red car in front of you? Did that kind of catch your attention?
Yeah, I was paying attention to the red car and all the brake lights ahead of me.
Okay. No further questions, thank you.
Thank you. So, on an automatic, if I have an exhaust brake, so when I hit the brake, do I only have to tap it once, or how does that work?
You can keep pressure on the brake pedal, then it'll downshift and go down itself, you know.
Well, and here's what I'm asking, because on a non-semi with type of engine braking, if I'm going down a hill, whether it be hill descent type stuff, I'm assuming it works something similar to that.
Yes.
So it's a computer calculation that, on a grade of some kind, once I hit it, it's going to engage that and make that lovely noise everyone loves. See, if I do that, then I don't have to hit the brakes really hard, do I?
No.
The exhaust will do the work.
Yes.
Okay, so in terms of paying attention, if I see something like that in front of me, and I'm looking at your speed again, at this point it looks like it's 33 miles an hour, is that accurate?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Okay. I got some distance there. All I got to do is let the exhaust do the work, for the most part.
Yes.
I don't have to basically plant my foot all the way to the floor with the brake pedal.
Right.
Okay. And that was a feature that was available in 2014?
Yes.
Okay. And that's easier on the brakes?
easy, yes.
Takes less effort on behalf of the driver if they're watching to just hit it once, or do you have to keep pressure on it?
I keep pressure on it.
Do you have to?
No,
Okay, so if I just hit it once, will it do something until I hit the throttle again? Will it continue to brake until I hit the throttle?
it'll continue to brake till you hit throttle.
Okay, so if I know something is coming up and I don't know what's gonna happen with it, if I hit the brake once, I don't have to do anything else, the exhaust will do the work and I'll naturally slow down.
So, yes,
And if I need to speed up, and I just hit the,
hit the gas pedal.
thank you, sir.
Lee Cross.
Just a re-verification here, so once you've engaged the brake and engaged the engine exhaust,
Mm-hmm.
and of course the transmission's working
Slow down.
to slow down the vehicle as well, if you took your foot off the brake, I think you just answered this one, I just want to make sure that the exhaust brake and the transmission will continue to slow that vehicle.
Yes.
Thank you.
You used the term, you were asked about the term ELD, what does that stand for?
Electronic logging device, so,
Keep track of your hours and miles?
yeah, electronically instead of on the paper book.
Okay. Can an exhaust brake be activated without applying brake pressure?
It can be, yes.
It can't.
It can be, but in some trucks, yeah, they can have programmed where you need to apply brake.
Okay, but a driver can, in some situations, a driver can employ the exhaust brake
Yes,
without touching the brakes.
yes,
If that happens, do the brake lights get activated?
no. Not until you press the brake pedal.
Okay. Is there a connection between the exhaust brake and the transmission?
I honestly, I can't answer that.
Let me ask you, how does the transmission know to downshift?
When there's no.
Based on the speed and the RPMs?
Speed and RPMs, and you're not calling for power to take off.
Accelerating?
Accelerating, yeah.
Okay. So are you saying that as a driver, you can activate the transmission to help slow, of an automatic transmission, to help slow the speed of the truck?
Yes. Yeah, you can manipulate or to start slowing down more.
Okay,
effective.
so by the gear shift?
Yes.
Okay, so you can, even though it's automatic, you can
There's a push button we can.
go to lower gear, go to lower gear, go to lower. That would that activate the brake lights?
No.
Okay. Follow up?
The actual exhaust then would come on automatically if you were on a grade going downhill?
If your foot's off the accelerator.
Okay. And of course, you're not on a grade at this point, you're in
No.
flat level?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step in. Mr. Murphy.
The state would call Robert Wolverton.
Stand here, sir. Sorry, stand here, sir. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear testimony that you're about to give in this case now being heard is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Yes, sir. Can you state your full name, spell your last name, please, for the record, sir?
Robert Scott Wolverton, Wolverton.
Thanks, sir.
You may inquire.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Wolverton. Sir, I want to go back to November 14th of 2023. Do you remember that morning, sir?
I do, I'm a God's miracle. 6 people died behind me.
Okay.
God saved my life that day.
Okay. How'd your day start, sir?
It was about 9:30, I was traveling to Pickerton, be some fresh for breakfast. There was an accident ahead of me, and that's why I stopped in the right lane.
Okay.
Then that's when I got hit in the rear end by the bus,
Okay.
which knocked me to the right.
Okay.
Knocked me over, the airbag went off, car was on fire. I used the console to pick myself up, the driver's door was jammed. Said, God, don't let me burn up in this car. That's when the state trooper, Sean, reached in with a good Samaritan and pulled me out of the car. I was laying on the grass, the squad came up, asked me, they took the vitals, asked how I was doing, I said, I'm hurting. That's when they transported me to Grand Hospital. 8.5 hour operation, broken neck, broken back.
Sir, I want to show you a picture. I apologize. This is of your 2016 Toyota Highlander.
2006.
I'm sorry, 2006.
Yes, sir.
Sir, is this in fact photographs of your 2006 Toyota Highlander?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This would be afterwards?
After I was hit.
Okay. There's a truck, or it looks like the remains of a semi on the side of your vehicle.
I could smell the smoke and fire from it.
Okay.
I think it had a little batteries on it.
Okay. And sir, the actual Toyota was hit by, was it the bus or the semi?
The bus, which kicked me to the right.
To the right as to the,
Yeah,
looks like you're in the fast lane there. That looks like it would be to your left.
I was in the right lane on 70.
Okay. So you moved from the right lane to the left lane?
I stayed in the right lane until it knocked me over.
Okay. But your vehicle ended up in the passing lane or the left lane here. Is that?
I guess I don't know.
Okay. You said a good Samaritan helped.
Yes, he was out in the hallway.
Josh Chica?
Yes,
Okay. And you also mentioned Trooper Sean Grimm?
yes.
Okay. How did they help you?
When the driver's door was jammed, and they reached in and the Good Samaritan helped me get out of the car and laid me down in the grass.
Okay. And you indicated that you required an operation. You had some injuries, specifically to your back, as a result of this.
8.5 hour operation, Grand Hospital.
Thank you, sir.
Cross-examination.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Okay.
Next witness, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you, Your Honor. This David call Trooper Sean Grimm.
Solemnly swear testimony that you have to give this case now be yours, the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. You see, state your full name, spell your last name, please, for the records.
My name is Trooper Sean Grimm. It's G-R-I-M.
Take a trip.
You may inquire.
Thank you. We can go over here. Sorry to make you move again. I apologize. Sean, where are you employed?
State Highway Patrol, Granville Post 45.
And how long have you been Ohio State Highway Patrol Trooper?
Coming up on 22 years.
Okay. And were you so employed on Tuesday, November 14th, 2023?
I was.
Sir, are you familiar with Interstate 70?
I am.
Is there any part of Interstate 70 where you frequent?
We're basically from the Licking County stretch, about 1 mile marker 113 to about the 142.
Okay. And we're going to be talking about a couple of collisions that occurred. The first one was an accident. This one's a collision. The first one, were you assisting Trooper Sawyers?
There was.
And sir, what location would that have been at?
That would have been at Interstate 70 at mile markers 117 westbound.
Okay. And sir, would that location be further west than the second collision?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Now, sir, as Ohio State Highway Patrol Trooper, is your cruiser equipped with a video recording system?
It is.
What kind of video recording system?
It's got a front video system, the dash cam video, and I also carry a body camera.
Okay. And sir, did you have those operational on Tuesday, November 14th, 2023?
I did.
Okay. And sir, tell us about the accident that occurred around mile marker 117 that you were assisting Trooper Sawyers with.
Yes, I got information that Trooper Sawyers got dispatched to a 4-vehicle crash involving a commercial, and that they were located in the median. I was running errands, but I told the dispatcher I'll be en route to assist. I arrived there about 45 minutes later to assist with Trooper Sawyers. When I made contact with Trooper Sawyers, he said that he needed some assistance with gathering statements from the drivers, so that's what I was in the process of doing.
Okay. At the time period that you arrived, where were the involved vehicles in this accident?
It was on Interstate 70 west of State Route 310. It was in the median, so it would be south of the roadway.
Okay, so the vehicles at this point in time weren't on the roadway itself that were involved in this accident. They were off the road?
They were off the road.
Okay. And so as far as other traffic or congestion issues, that would have only been one of these rubbernecking type events. It wasn't something that would have stopped or closed the roadway at the time you arrived.
That is correct. Both lanes were open and traffic was slowly going through.
Okay. And so when I use the term rubbernecking, that's just people looking to see what's going on?
Yes.
Okay. How's the traffic flow in this area generally?
Depending on the time of the day, like in the morning when you have more traffic, it's pretty busy. It lightens up during the afternoon, but Columbus traffic, work traffic picks up a little bit in the evening too. But generally, it flows pretty well.
Okay. And so describe this roadway. How many lanes are on this roadway?
It's 2 lanes. There are certain parts of the interstate that does pick up to 3, but at this stretch of the roadway, it's 2 lanes.
Okay. Slow lane, fast lane,
Yes.
fog lines,
Yes.
and those, rumble strips on both sides of the roadway,
Correct.
if you go over that?
Yes.
Okay. And the speed limit in this general area?
70 miles an hour.
Okay. The particular area that we're going to be talking about here, that area also was in Licking County, Ohio?
It is.
Okay, so both these events would have occurred in Licking County.
Assistant investigation, you wanted me to get a statement from a driver. Yes.
Okay, so that's all you were doing?
That's what I was in the process of doing. Yes.
Okay. At some point, was this activity by you disrupted?
Yes, it was.
And what disrupted that activity?
As I was getting ready to start questioning a driver out of this crash, I was looking towards the east, and I noticed I would describe it as a mushroom cloud of smoke coming from the east. My initial thoughts were there's a car fire, there's something going on back there, so I radioed that into the dispatch center and let them know to start firing EMS to that location, which I estimated about 2 miles away. And I determined it was westbound on Interstate 70, just east of our State Route 310.
So the same side of the roadway you're on,
Yes.
further east,
Yes.
and you indicated that from what you saw, from your experience, it looked like something was on fire.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm assuming you've seen something like this in the past.
Yes.
Okay. And sir, was your body cam active at that time?
Yes.
Sir, I want to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit number 4. Just turn it back down a little bit. And sir, this is an image from your body cam,
That's correct.
and off to the east, is that the plume that you were talking about?
Yes.
Back over here?
Yeah, that's the smoke, yes.
Okay. And the involved vehicles, they're off on the side of the roadway here?
Yes.
Okay. See if the volume's any better.
Wrecker's on scene, and it looks like we got a 34 behind us by the bridge. Go ahead and start a fire department. I'm gonna go check that.
And sir, we just saw a series of cars going by, so the traffic was flowing there?
That's correct.
Okay.
Not gonna be good back there. Nope. We got everybody out?
Sir, you arrived at the scene at this point. Where are you parked at?
Parked on the median. It would be just east of the final rest of these vehicles.
And
Median.
what are we seeing over here?
You're seeing a bus on fire, the rear part of it. You're seeing the commercial truck on fire. You're seeing the Toyota Highlander that's next to it, that the heat's spreading towards it, the fire's spreading towards it. And underneath the commercial truck here, the Freightliner, you have another vehicle that we found out about a little bit later.
But you didn't know about that other vehicle at that time?
No.
The actual Toyota Highlander, what lane of travel was that in?
That is in the south lane facing the opposite direction. So left lane.
Okay.
The left lane. Lancaster getting it. Fire department route. We still have some people in the bus. MD is en route. Oh, I got this. This is my freaking. No, you gotta get fucking fire extinguishers, please.
Do we know who this gentleman is on the ground here, sir?
Later determined that was Mr. McDonald, the driver of the Freightliner truck. But at that point, when I'm walking by, I did not.
Do you see Mr. McDonald in the courtroom here, sir?
I do.
Can you identify him for the record,
He's
please?
sitting across from me in a blue flannel shirt.
You're going to ask the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant.
Yeah, well, sir, reflect.
And sir, what do we see all scattered around here?
Those are batteries. Debris from the Freightliner truck. The impact forced them out of the trailer and they littered the south side of the roadway and the roadway.
And that's the Mid-State Systems trailer there?
Yes.
Who is he? Come on, let's get out! Get out! Come on! Move! Move! Come on, out! Go! All right, go! All right, got him. Come on. Say, you guys drag him over? Yeah, get it.
Sir, I understand that this is your safety vest, your jacket,
It is.
but what did you guys just do?
Determined that there was the driver that was in the Toyota. It turns out to be Mr. Wolverton. He was laying in there when we came up when I came up to the car, noticed he was in there, he was at an awkward angle, his feet were toward the steering wheel, he was laying back towards the back. The car, the seat was at an angle too broke, I believe, and he was in there. Made the determination, had to get him out of there because the fire didn't know how far that spread, and needed to get him out in safety.
And you know who helped you?
I do not know specifically who helped me. I believe it was an officer, that was an off-duty officer from Gahanna PD, but I still have not met him.
Were they wearing a uniform or anything?
No, he was not.
Was it the defendant, though, that was helping you?
No.
Anything? Come on! Have you had communication? Come on. Buddy! Anyone here? Anyone? Come on! Oh, we got a count, are you sure? I don't see anyone. Somebody get a count on the kid. Count them up. Get an itinerary. Count them up. What about the driver? Anyone in there? I have no idea. I got here and it already happened. Lancaster got one of the guys out of the SUV. We're still trying to figure out if there's one kid in the bus. I checked it, couldn't find it. How many was with this on this one?
I just stopped in that truck there. I was dragging the freaking kids off.
Right here.
Did you learn the identity of this individual?
Later on, I'm having a freeze on the name.
Josh Jacob?
Yes.
Okay. You having difficulty breathing inside the
A little bit.
bus? Why is that, sir?
Oh, the smoke got to me, so.
EMS! EMS!
Thanks for 3261.
Hey!
3261. You 23. No, sir. Need you to 29, 1353 down to that 31A. His vehicle's up in the garage.
You okay? Talking?
So I'm going to stop it here. Are you familiar with this semi-trailer back here?
I am.
How are you familiar with that, sir?
He was involved in the vehicle. He's the last one that was struck.
Okay. Looked like there's a pretty big distance from where that is and where the bus was.
There is.
Was there any corresponding damage to the bus that you saw?
Yes.
What kind of damage?
The bus, it would be the bus damage left front area was, and center front area was, there's a big impact area there.
Would that be where the driver would have been sitting?
Yes.
You got a couple down here that need help.
You talking?
I got a broken leg, yeah.
You got broken leg.
We got one partial broken foot and a bunch of small injuries here.
You witness this? I was in this broken leg, couple broken ankles. He's CPR right now. Maybe one more.
Hey, you get over here. Where else are injured?
Huh?
Where else are injured?
Broken leg. She's conscious. We got some over here. I need you to get a count of who's I need you to get a count. Does anyone need a EMS? Who needs it? Anyone need EMS?
What's that?
Anyone need EMS? One? Maybe Xander.
There's one there and there's a possible broken foot. There's a bunch of small injuries.
They're conscious, so.
Yeah.
I need a count. What's the injuries on this one?
Her legs down, back down.
She can't feel anything from her legs down. Got two over there with probably broken ankles. The only one in the SUV? What happened? Where were you at, sir? Can't hear you. You're in the what? You're in the semi? What happened? Do you have any identification on you?
Sir, is that Mr. McDonald you're talking to?
It is.
Did you ask him what happened?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
I don't know what happened. Didn't know. Don't remember.
Okay. There's blue skies out there.
Yes.
There's no adverse weather.
None.
Black grave.
Yes.
Is on the road.
Yes.
He doesn't know what happened.
Do you have any identification on you? Is there anyone else in the truck with you? And you said, I already asked you this, that you didn't have anyone else with you? I got your license. Just hold on to that, okay? Did you hit anyone in front of you? What's that, sir?
Let's see if you should hit
Hold tight.
Well, yeah, you're right.
There's a car under the semi.
Found the car, the axle's under there, yeah. There's an axle under the body.
898, right there. We're gonna have
There's a car in the semi.
Just make sure when we notify these guys, you run everything through command so we don't duplicate efforts.
I was just walking, yeah, we just, and then I was gonna, they got a hit.
They're gonna have another vehicle.
They're sizing it up. See what they need once they get it all sized up.
As our recon investigator, Tripp Sergeant, became Beach Post. I'm drawing a blank. Last name.
Danny,
Yes.
where exactly was the Nissan located?
Underneath the power unit of the commercial. And you can tell really with this that it's underneath that commercial unit. It went over top of it at the impact.
I'm not even gonna put a field sketch on.
requested to leave this area at some point?
I was.
Didn't go where?
To the church where they were setting up all the kids and people that were involved in the crash at in Etna. They wanted us to meet with the first responders and meet with our MAT team.
When you first arrived on the scene, did you observe whether the driver cab for the Mr. McDonald semi was open?
It was when at one point I was able to see that. I could see right through. The driver's seat the door was open to a point I could see the driver's seat was empty. I could look right through and I could see that there was no one in the passenger seat.
Sir, is using your cell phone unlawful in the state of Ohio?
No.
Okay. There's a lawful way of using it?
Yes.
What's the lawful way of using it?
If you're talking about when you're driving, you can answer a phone, put it up to your ear, and receive a call that way.
Okay. Can you do anything besides that?
You can use it in Bluetooth capabilities. You can use it through as long as you're not holding it or touching it. Yes.
Can you watch a movie while you're driving?
No.
Okay. Can you play video games while you're driving?
No.
And why is that, sir?
Taking your eyes off the roadway, you're responsible for driving and maintaining safe transport through the highways.
Thank you, sir.
Cross-examination, Mr. Riggin.
Afternoon, Trooper. So you were investigating another accident that had previously occurred when this accident occurred. That's right. Okay. So you didn't observe the sequence of events of the accident that's in question today at all, correct?
No.
In fact, all of your body cam footage is subsequent to that event.
Yes.
Okay. In the very last part of your body cam footage there, you were walking around the red Toyota Highlander. We're just making observations of that?
Yes.
Okay. And towards the end there, you're standing at the back of the Toyota Highlander. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. And there's damage to the back of that vehicle? Would you agree with me that that damage kind of begins about the middle of the tailgate and becomes increasingly so towards the passenger side?
There was damage, yes.
Yeah. It looked like it got hit about maybe the passenger corner, mid tailgate area.
That's about right.
Okay. No.
You had left the scene by the time you arrived. How would you describe the damage that you saw to the pavement in this area where this collision occurred?
Severely damaged, burnt. To the point that it had to be repaved after everything was cleared. It was undrivable. It was unsatisfactory for people to drive on it, so they had to repave it. It's bad.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Recross.
And that pavement had to be repaved because of fire. Is that correct?
Fire and damage from the accident.
When you're saying damage from the accident, that would be the vehicles themselves?
Well, there's damage from the crash. The specifics of it had to be repaved. That's someone else.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank
No
you.
further questions.
You may step down.
Thank you.
Your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would call Samadawi.
swear testimony that you're about to give this case now being heard is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Have a seat. Can you state your full name, spell your last name, please, for the records?
Samadawi, B-A-D-O-W-I.
Thanks.
You may record.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I want to go back to Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, the bus crash. Are you familiar with this event, sir?
Yes.
How are you familiar with this event?
I was on 70 westbound going to Columbus from Pittsburgh, coming from Pittsburgh. And before that accident, I saw the accident, I saw that the truck stopped and there was a fire and smoke and then fire, some explosion coming out of the truck. That's what I saw coming into it.
Were you driving a semi, sir?
Yes.
And sir, what kind of semi were you driving?
53-footer.
Okay, 53-foot trailer. What about the actual truck itself?
The truck is, I believe at the time, it was international,
Okay.
2024.
Is that a Freightliner?
No, it's international.
Okay. And sir, how long have you been a Class A holder?
At least about 6-7 years.
Okay. And sir, the truck that you had, was it an automatic or was it a manual?
It's automatic.
Okay. And are you familiar with the differences between an automatic and a manual?
Somewhat. I only drive automatic, but I do have some knowledge of the stick shift.
Sir, at some point in time, were you following the Freightliner driver on November 14, 2023?
Yes, but to be honest, I didn't really see the truck till the accident because I really didn't pay attention to.
Understandable.
There's so many trucks, on our road.
The international that you had, is that speed limited?
Yes,
To
65.
what? 65.
Governed at 65.
So is that the governed speed of it, or is that
Yes.
the cruise control speed?
No, that's the speed, maximum speed that is allowed by my company.
Okay.
So they limit that. I can't exceed that.
Okay. And so it's mechanically or I would imagine electronically.
Electronically, they go in and change the speed to 65 max.
Okay. And sir, on this particular day, Tuesday, November 14, 2023, were you coming up to milepost 118?
Yes.
And
I think
did you
very close to it, yes.
Did you have a forward-facing dash cam, sir?
I do.
And was that activated?
Yes, all the time. Actually, as soon I turn my ignition on, it will activate automatically. That's my company also installed that in all our vehicles. And will stay on after we turn the truck off. About 20 minutes, it will stay on. So it is activated all the time almost.
Okay, so as a driver, you have no ability to override?
I can't even touch it. I can't even do anything with it, no.
Okay. Does it have any collision avoidance technology in it?
Not the camera, the truck does.
The truck?
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of collision avoidance does this international truck have?
It has warnings that if you come too close to a vehicle, and let's say you have your cruise set, and you come close to any object, it's gonna, let's say I'm setting it for 60, it's gonna reduce the speed, by itself, even if I don't step on the brake. You can't maintain the speed I set it to.
Okay.
So, and like I said, there's alarms which give you if you come close to any objects.
And sir, this actual collision that occurred, was this person driving the same speed as you, or were they going?
I honestly don't know because he was in the front of me. Like there's a little bit of a distance. I have to maintain so much distance based on that camera. Otherwise, we get penalized as a driver. So he was ahead of me.
Okay.
So I came. When I saw that, what happened, I saw smoke coming out, and shortly after there's fire. So that's when
Before we talk about that,
Yeah.
in terms of distances, What kind of distance does your company policy?
6 to 8 seconds. So
Okay.
it's a quite a bit of a distance.
So-
I'll say like at least maybe almost 2 legs of semi.
Almost what?
Almost like 2 legs
Oh,
of
okay,
the semi.
Okay.
But I mean, you could come closer, but we get penalized if we do. Basically on our driving.
Apologize, I'm just trying to pull up the video. You're gonna have a 10-minute break. Two things, I need to
Sure.
plug my computer in and I need to pull up this video.
Sure, let's take a quick recess. Let us know when you get all set.
All rise. There's no recess.
Make sure you get stand up or we stand up.
Thank you, have a seat. Thank you, ready to proceed? All right, you may be seated.
Mr. Markle, I'm going to show you in Mark State's Exhibit 7. This purports to be your dash cam video. Does that look accurate, sir?
Yes.
Okay, then that was the truck that you were actually operating in that particular.
Yeah.
In terms of the road conditions out there, any ice or snow on the ground?
No.
Are you on a flat grade or level or hill or?
No, it was flat.
Okay. Any sun in your eyes or anything like that?
No,
Sun to your rear?
I don't recall.
You're going west.
Yeah.
Sunrise is on the east.
Yeah, so.
Okay, I don't want to confuse you.
No,
Okay.
it was clear.
The actual vehicle that we're looking at, that's the one that caught fire is in front of you?
Yes,
That's quite a ways away, isn't it?
it is.
Okay. This video truly and accurately depicts what was on your system.
Yes.
So this is the 118 sign,
Mm-hmm.
heading up past
Okay.
1 mile away.
Right.
Looks like there's a bridge coming up here. There's absolutely no traffic in between you or in front of you or in the side of you?
That's the way it was.
Okay. Is that unusual for that part of the roadway?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, usually it's very busy around the morning, yes.
Okay. It looks like there's, I don't know if you can see it there, but it looks like there is, and we have a PowerPoint for a reconstructionist, but it looks like there's a white van that is actually moving into the fast lane from here. Can you see that, sir?
No, not really. Where?
Well, again, it'll be right off here on the side.
Yeah,
You can see that?
yeah.
Okay. Oops, sorry.
That's what it's called.
Okay, you can see the white van at this point is pulled over into the
Yes.
in the turn lane,
Yes.
and it looks like there's some flame coming out from.
That's
Okay.
what I remember, yeah.
So that's about 35 seconds into the video. Okay.
It's the first time I see it. Yeah.
Okay, we see something on fire at this point.
Yes.
Do you know what was on fire at this point?
I saw the truck, the trailer on fire. That's what I saw.
Okay.
And I saw some debris from the smaller vehicles.
Does it show you? Seven video. Are you familiar with this video, sir?
Oh, yeah.
What is this video?
That's what I saw all the fire and explosions happening, and people start, piling on the side of the road to the right,
Okay.
inside.
I'm going to back this up a few frames in a second, but
Okay.
this is before any police look like they've arrived.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like this is looks like a Highlander, Toyota Highlander, And it looks like parts of the semi are on fire.
Looks like it, yeah.
Okay, and do you know who these folks are over here?
I think they were like, when I asked, but I don't know if it's correct or not, people were in the bus,
Okay.
start stepping out.
Were they young folks or old folks?
Majority of them young.
Okay. And is this video, this is your video?
Yes,
Truly and accurately depicts what we're seeing here?
yes.
Okay. Looks like we see a gentleman over here that has some kind of plaid shirt on and maybe blue jeans?
Yes.
Okay. You know who that person was?
No, I really don't.
Okay. You didn't know any of the people there, did you?
No, I didn't, to be honest, no. I kept my distance in the way, and the fire was going on, and I wasn't shocked, to be honest, so. And then when I stepped out of the vehicle, some people say, you need to guys stay away. I think they were like, maybe from the first responders, stay away.
Okay.
So.
Well, let's watch the video then. Those explosions coming from,
I believe the tires from the semi,
okay, and the one on top?
that I don't know where, but it's from the semi, but I don't know what the cause.
Show you 7C. Is this you right after when you came to a stop?
Yes, that's my truck right there.
Okay. And again, it's a little bit hard to see, but we see some individuals that are out walking around.
Yeah, there's a person to the right, yeah.
And the other cars that came up from behind you, now they're going around
Yeah,
to continue their journey.
yeah.
And we have a police cruiser, looks like, coming up now.
Yes. I thought they showed up really quick, if I remember correctly.
7D. So the, looks like the semi is further on fire, black smoke.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're a little bit closer to this, this is the van, the Ford Transit van that was in, that you saw pull way under the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
or before the bridge, or around that area?
Yes.
Okay. Do States Exhibit 7A through D truly and accurately depict the videos and what you observed?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Cross-examination. Yeah, if you need to.
how do I pronounce your last name, sir?
Goedel.
Madawi? Okay. So, as you're traveling behind Jacob McDonald, you're not assessing his speed at all, are you?
No.
I think you testified earlier, there's lots of trucks out there you weren't.
Yeah, I honestly didn't pay attention. It was till that thing happened, till when I started looking.
Right.
So I wasn't paying attention. No.
So, just before the accident, did you, or the impact, did you see the impact? Were you paying attention when that happened?
No, I've seen it when, after I saw the, the smoke stop. I knew and the traffic stopped, I knew there's something happened in the distance.
Okay, so you couldn't testify today related to anything regarding the actual impact?
I didn't see them.
Okay. And you testified that the white van, did you observe that or only after the fact?
I did not, no.
Okay, so everything that you're testifying today is more or less what you've seen after the fact?
Yes. Well, I'm testifying that the film we just saw, it's from my truck.
That film's from your truck, that's what you're
Yes.
testifying?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, no further questions, thank you.
Redirect?
Were you watching the road, sir?
Of course.
Did you have any reason to think that a professional driver ahead of you would all of a sudden have his vehicle just go up in flames?
Of course not. This doesn't happen every day, no.
No. So that was a very unusual event.
That's today? Okay, thank you, no further questions.
Thank you, sir. You may step in. Mr. Murphy.
You're on a state of trial, Eugene Mans Jr.
Sworn testimony that you have in this case now being heard is true, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Good to see you. Can you state your full names for your last name, please?
Eugene S. Mans, M-A-N-N-S, Jr.
Thank you.
You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir. Had to check that. Mr. Mans, how are you? And sir, I want to go back to Tuesday, November 14th, 2023. What were you doing that morning, sir?
I was on my way back from Zanesville, Ohio, picking up a veteran, taking him back to the VA for an appointment.
Okay. Is that what you do, sir?
Yes.
And where are you employed at?
Department of Veterans Affairs. At the time it was in Columbus, Ohio, but now I'm back in Dayton, Ohio.
And sir, how long have you been with the Department of Veterans Affairs?
Over 4 years.
Okay. And sir, were you driving a 2024 Transit 350 van on that particular morning?
Yes, sir.
And sir, are you familiar with the operation of that van?
Yes, sir.
Have you driven that van before?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And sir, how many people were you transporting on that particular morning?
That morning it was myself, the vet, and an aide.
Okay. And sir, at some point in time, were you on Interstate 70?
Yes, sir.
And sir, I want to show you, apologize. Sir, this is a zoomed in PowerPoint of the last gentleman, Mr. Samadawi, video. I want to show you this vehicle here, sir. Is that your Ford Transit that you were driving?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And sir, before you ended up in the center turn lane, were you in front of the semi that we see to the right of you?
Yes.
Okay. And sir, I'm going to back this up. I'm showing you frame. Looks like 33, you're side by side with this vehicle, the semi?
Yes.
Okay. 34 is when you first start moving over. Would that be accurate?
No, I moved over before that.
Well, 33 looks like you're, going into the center.
Yes. Yes.
Going back to frame 31, you're in the left lane, it appears here.
Yes.
Frame 30, you're in the left lane.
Yes.
Frame 29, you're in the left lane.
Yes.
Frame 28, you're in the left lane.
Yes.
Frame 27, you're in the left lane.
Yes.
Frame 26, you're in the left lane.
Yes.
Frame 25, you're in between lanes.
Yes.
Frame 24, you look like you're probably all the way into the right lane or around the zipper line in the middle.
Appears to be yes.
Sir, walk us through how you ended up moving from the right lane into the left lane and into the U-turn area.
Well, that morning we were coming back, headed back to Columbus from Zanesville. Aid and I were having a conversation, like we always do when they ride with us. And we noticed that traffic had slowed down in front of us. So she said to me, "Traffic slowed down?" I said, "Yes." So at that point, put my blinker on. I remember putting it on, going over into the left lane. When I got into the left lane, we continued to have a conversation. Next thing I know, we heard a loud crash. Boom! Looked over out the passenger window, and I saw the truck pushing the bus down the road. And I seen the truck go up the back of the bus like it was on a roller coaster, and it slammed down. And as I was still driving, there was a burgundy SUV that was spinning toward me. I don't know where it came from, but it came spinning toward me, and I turned over to the left a little bit more, and that's where we stopped. Then we realized what happened.
You said that the semi went up and into the bus?
It was pushing the bus, the truck was pushing the bus, and then it went up. And they're like a roller coaster, and it came back down.
Okay. At this time, were you aware that there was a vehicle between that semi and the bus?
No, sir.
Okay. At some point in time, did you learn that there was a vehicle between the semi and the bus?
Yes, sir.
And sir, when did you learn that?
After the news footage and found out that 3 more people had passed away from
You said that you were having a conversation with the aide?
Yes, sir.
And you were having a conversation with the aide while you were in the right lane and while you moved over to the left lane?
Yes.
Any part of that conversation prevented you from looking down the road?
No, sir.
Okay. And just so that I understand the weather conditions on this particular morning, if there's any ice on the road or anything like that?
No, sir.
Sun to your back?
Yes.
Any difficulty in driving that morning?
No, sir.
In terms of traffic congestion, is this an area that normally has traffic congestion?
Give or take the time of day or traffic that may be going that way. But
So-
typically there's not.
About 8:48 in the morning typically, there's not?
Not that much.
Okay. And so was traffic stopped in front of you before the truck got involved in this collision, or was it just slowing down?
What I saw was a lot of brake lights.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if it was like standstill traffic or was slowing down. I just noticed that traffic had been like a lot of brake lights, so it probably had been slowing down for something.
Okay. But nothing prevented you from bringing your vehicle to a stop?
No, sir.
Sir, after this truck caught on fire, could you tell the court what you did?
But once I realized what had happened, I remember asking Abe to give me my fire extinguisher because I noticed there was fireballs behind the tractor of the truck. And the burgundy SUV that spun toward me, I thought his battery fell out the bottom of his car. So all I saw was fire. So I asked her to hand me my fire extinguisher, and she couldn't get it. So I reached behind the passenger seat and grabbed the fire extinguisher, and I went out and started putting out the fireballs that was leading up to the back of the truck and the burgundy SUV. And I asked, I looked in the vehicle, and I couldn't see a driver in the burgundy SUV. And I remember asking, is anybody in there? And I heard somebody say, help me. And I looked in the front, and he was laying between the driver's seat and the passenger seat. And I said, okay, sir, I'm putting this fire out underneath your car. And the fire extinguisher, I believe, went out at the time. I ran back to my van, forgot that the gentleman was in the vehicle, and was trying to contact my dispatch to let them know what had just happened. Because I couldn't get the vet to his appointment because the road was blocked at that point.
Okay. Sir, you took a couple pictures.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit 3A. Is this a photograph you took, sir?
Yes.
Sir, what are we seeing in this picture?
Seeing the burgundy SUV that was spinning toward me, looked like batteries on the road, the truck on fire, the door of the truck open, looks like students on the right side, the front of the bus, and another damaged semi-truck.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked State's Exhibit 3B. Are you familiar with State's Exhibit 3B?
Yes, sir.
What is State's Exhibit 3B?
Showing that the truck is more engulfed in flames, the burgundy SUV, the bus, again, looks like batteries around the road, people, and a gentleman standing in the middle with his arms, look like his arms are raised up.
This shirt here, sir, or this person here? Is this the individual?
He doesn't see your laser on his screen, so.
Yes.
Do you know if that was the truck driver?
Yes.
So the truck driver got out of the truck and at some point was standing up, watching his truck go up in flames with its hands in the air.
Yes.
Did you have an opinion after looking at the semi driver as to what his state of mind was, if you could tell?
I just remember when the accident happened, I remember seeing the truck driver and I yelled at him, "Sir, get out of your truck, it's on fire." And I seen him climb out the truck backwards, like feet first, like he was coming down. I can't tell if he was disoriented or anything like that because everything that was going on at the time. I do remember him coming out, and that's all I remember as far as where he went after the fact. I had no idea because, like I said, I was out helping to put out the fires.
If you know, did this individual do anything to help anyone?
Say that again.
Did he do anything to help anyone?
I didn't see.
Okay. Did you see which side of the truck was on fire?
The far right front of it appeared to be when I saw
In the cab? Or in the engine? Or behind it?
the very front of the truck where the engine would be.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Can I have a moment to ask Richie a question?
Sure.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is a video that was, you were just testifying to the frames earlier with the prosecution. Do you agree with that?
It looks like it, yes.
Okay. Let me fast forward a little bit so you can see your van. And that's going to be your white van right there. It's going to be coming out of the right-hand lane and the left-hand lane, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you testified earlier that you're having a conversation with the other vets in the van?
Having a conversation with the nurse's aide.
The nurse's aide? Okay.
Yes.
And you heard a loud boom?
No. It was after we seen that traffic had slowed down. Then I started to merge the left lane. Then we heard the boom and looked over and saw the truck pushing the bus down the highway.
Okay. So you heard a boom, correct?
Yes.
And that caused you to look out the passenger window, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you looked out that window, that's when you saw the semi against the bus, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And 34 seconds here. So now, you're still driving next to him at this point, right? You're still flowing next to the semi. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm curious if you can see, right here you're going to see a silver metallic piece that's going to fly off. I'm going to back up just a smidge. You see that silver metallic fly off?
Go back again, please.
Okay. See it?
Yes.
Okay. So you're still flowing next to the bus up until about that point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm so sorry. The semi, not the bus.
The truck, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And at that point, you heard that boom. So that was you heard the boom prior to taking any evasive maneuvers, correct?
Yes, because at that point, when I started to turn over to the left more, that burgundy SUV came out of nowhere. And that's where I ended up turning to the left. After I got in the left lane, I ended up turning away from it.
Okay. So you hear the boom, you look over, and you see the semi into the bus.
Yes.
You immediately apply your brakes and turn to the left.
No, the brakes were already down because traffic was slowed.
Okay.
But what made me turn to the left even more is because the burgundy SUV, like I said, came out of nowhere.
Okay.
Once we heard the boom, seen the truck push the bus down the highway, the truck went up, it came back down, the burgundy SUV was coming. I turned to the left to get out the way of the SUV. And we ended up right where the U-turn of the highway was.
How much time lapsed?
I don't know, it happened so fast.
It happened very quickly. Move back up just a smidge here again to point of impact. So you're flowing next to the truck here, you agree with that? Correct?
Yes.
And then right there we see the silver impact, or the silver metallic. We have the impact. You agree with that?
Yes.
You're taking evasive maneuvers? You agree with that, sir?
Yes.
And there's the burgundy Toyota Highlander that you were avoiding. Is that accurate?
Yes.
No further questions, thank you.
Redirect.
So that was 33 into 34 seconds, that metallic piece you can see.
Yes.
And just so we're following along on the PowerPoint, looks like you started to move over at 24 seconds.
It appears to be yes.
So about 10 seconds, a little short of 10 seconds. Before, by the time you moved, the time that silver piece goes off to the side, and then another second afterwards, there's a fireball.
Yes.
No further questions?
Redirect.
No, thank you, Ron.
Thank you, sir. You missed that down. All right, why don't we take a lunch break? Plan on resuming at 1:30. Anything further?
No.